joining us in the studio this morning is Alex Padilla. He's the legal counsel of Senator Leila de Lima. Good morning to you, Attorney Padilla.
Good morning, Karen.
All right, you're wearing a different hat today from the last time I spoke with you.
Yes.
Okay, I have to say up from PhilHealth, is it now fair to say you're in private practice already?
I am in private since August of last year.
And you are no longer with PhilHealth?
No, I'm no longer in government. In any way.
Okay, all right. Yesterday you filed a petition with the Supreme Court.
Right.
Explain to us what you are expecting the Supreme Court to do and what is your prayer?
Yes, it's a petition for certiorari and prohibition because we're alleging grave abuse on the part of the judge in issuing the arrest warrant, that she did not personally examine the evidence, including the report of the DOJ, and that she just merely issued the warrant based on the criminal information filed by the DOJ. No? So this is a constitutional right. So it's in violation of our Section 2, Article 3 of the Constitution, as well as the rules of court. No? And we're also saying that she should have no jurisdiction over this case simply because the charge of illegal drug trade was merely included in order to make it a non-bailable offense. But if you look at the charge is actually talking about her supposedly receiving money from certain drug convicts or certain convicts because of her office or in relation to her office. That's
and
to us.
All you believe all three cases that have been filed by the Department of Justice essentially revolve around the same issue.
Yes, all of it revolved around the taking of money. In fact, the three cases were filed depending on who supposedly delivered the money. Okay, so if that were the case, it is our position that it should have been bribery or extortion. And if that were also the case, then it should have been under the ombudsman. You know, it's funny that they put illegal drug trade when they don't even indicate the kind of drug that was involved. Shabu, was it marijuana? We don't know. There's no indication. There's no indication as well of the amount of drugs that were taken. No. There's no indication as well of the if this was trading, there should have been buyers, sellers.
And it doesn't say in the complaint, in the case, no details. No
details. The criminal information just talks about Senator de Lima when she was supposedly Secretary of Justice from the period 2012 to 2013.
Okay. Now, what I want to ask you is with the DOJ putting illegal drug trade in the case, does this justify their filing the case and the regional trial court issuing a warrant? Because I know one of your issues is that the RTC has no jurisdiction over Secretary Leila de Lima then, that it should be the Ombudsman and the Sandigan Bayan.
Yes.
By putting illegal drug trade, does that justify?
Well, they want to make it appear that it is now part of RA 9165, the Dangerous Drugs Act. But that's really funny because, as I said, there is no corpus delicti. The crime or the subject matter of the crime is not there. There are no drugs. And there are no respondents except for Senator de Lima and some of the other accused, no? So,
in other words, if it's corpus delicti, as you were saying, it would mean that it is covered by a regular court.
No, if they had the evidence that was presented, that they showed the actual drugs that was taken, they showed the actual
bypass operation,
parang ganon, no?
Oo, nahuli mo yung droga.
At hindi lamang nahuli, no? This is drug trading. It's similar to drug trafficking on a large scale. At for several, ganun ho ang indication ng drug trading. But here, there is no indication. They don't even say how the operations went, who bought the drugs. And this is supposed to be done through cell phones, texting, etc. Even the phone of Senator de Lima is not implicated or is not indicated here.
Okay. So when you say you filed for certiorari, is this equal to you want the Supreme Court to issue a TRO?
Yes, also. And for a issuance of an order status quo ante, meaning to say we want the situation returned prior to her arrest.
Okay. I've interviewed Senator Franklin Relon yesterday, and you know the other camp is stating other cases. For example, the Ampatuan case on the Maguindanao massacre. They said while he was in power, it was the RTC. GMA on electoral sabotage, it was the RTC.
Yes.
Congressman Alosos on rape, it was the RTC. Congressman De Guzman, illegal gun possession, I think, and trafficking, I can't remember,
Yes,
but
yes.
RTC.
Yes.
And Senator Drilon tried to explain the difference, but clearly the DOJ will be making this argument.
Yes.
If sitting congressmen and other officials, their crimes were covered under the RTC, why not Senator Leila de Lima as
Well,
Justice
okay.
Secretary?
First, you have to look at the criminal information. The criminal information merely says that during her term as Secretary of Justice, by reason of her office, in relation to that office, she exerted pressure, whatever, to the inmates in order to extort money.
For the campaign?
For the
For the
campaign
union.
of Senator
Yeah.
De Lima in 2016, and this was in 2012. Remember, so it was omnipresent on their side to think that she was already campaigning. No, okay. So if it was by reason of her office, that should have been the main ingredient of the
Yeah.
crime, and therefore it was a crime committed by a public officer, and clearly it should have been under the ombudsman. But what they did was. She extorted money, etc., and as a product of the illegal drug campaign. They included the illegal drug campaign, drug trading, I'm sorry, illegal drug trading. But there is no evidence to that effect. As I said, there was nothing that they even apprehended, no?
Yeah.
Not at all. So to us, it was merely an afterthought in order to make it non-bailable. I think that was, because had it been extortion, bribery, or even simple possession of drugs, it would have been bailable. She would not have been subjected to arrest.
So is it fair to say, Attorney Padilla, if the Supreme Court does not act on your petition,
Yes.
you'll have Senator Leila de Lima in jail
Yes, she
for
is.
the whole period that she is senator?
Well, she is incarcerated now. I don't know if it's the whole period when she is senator. I mean, depends on how the case goes, no? But she will not get the relief if the Supreme Court does not act on our petition.
So the only way for Senator Leila de Lima to get bail is for the case complaint to change. Is that correct?
Yes.
Kasi pag nandun yung illegal drug trade, non-bailable yun.
Yes, it's what we are asking the Supreme Court to do is to, well, we have other grounds, no? We are saying that the judge herself did not conduct an investigation into the probable cause of the offense complained of, no?
Now, my question is, if the Supreme Court acts on that, will the judge have to explain to the Supreme Court and say, I acted on it, I read the complaint?
Yes.
That is long. She will do that.
She will have to explain sooner or later before the Supreme Court, I think, whether or not the Supreme Court issues the temporary restraining order or not. No? We hope that they will issue the TRO, but she will have to explain, yeah.
But Attorney, what is the SOP of something like this? Take us through this. You filed the petition yesterday.
Yes.
So ideally, how long before the Supreme Court acts on your petition for a TRO?
Well, we don't really know. I think that's really up to the Supreme Court.
So it can take them weeks, months, or years?
Usually they act somehow on it, no? They issue the TRO sometimes, and other times they ask for the comment of the judge in this case before them, etc. No? So we don't really. I don't want to second guess the Supreme Court.
So in your petition yesterday, other than your complaint of the judge acting hastily and not reading the whole complaint, are you also questioning the jurisdiction of the DOJ?
Yes, we're questioning. That's part of our motion to quash. That's part of our petition as well. No, that to us the DOJ never had jurisdiction under this case, and even if they had jurisdiction to conduct preliminary examination or investigation, they should have still filed it before the ombudsman, whatever the result of that investigation was. No?
Now, does the Supreme Court then have the power, based on your decision, to say, yes, the DOJ file it with the ombudsman? Will it be that direct?
No,
it
it
is
will
in
not.
your favor.
It will not. It will not. Our respondent here is the judge, no? Because it's the judge who actually issued the arrest warrant and who actually served the arrest warrant and why Senator De Lima is incarcerated.
So why is that the best way to go? Why not include the DOJ in your whole petition?
Well, because it is now before the court. At least insofar as we don't recognize the court, no, having jurisdiction and authority over this case. But the fact is that she issued the warrant, and therefore we are questioning her authority in issuing the warrant. And we are saying that it was defective, not only procedurally, but substantially. And if we have to go back even to the DOJ, we will, no? For example, the DOJ said that they personally examined the witnesses, such as the drug convicts. That's not true. It was a false certification.
Yeah.
So
but then why would the judge know that?
Well, that's because it was the duty of the judge to actually personally examine the complainant and the affidavits, including the reports and the TSN, no? It was her duty because that's constitutional, no? And she's supposed to subject the complainant and the witnesses to personal examination, no?
Yeah.
But she did not do it.
But attorney, is this a hard road to go? Because in effect, what you're questioning is the discretion of a judge.
Actually,
and is it the judge is a woman, no?
Yes, yes,
okay.
she is.
And what makes me, wonder is the judge, of course, will be justifying her years of experience in stating that I made the decision out of my own wisdom and experience.
Can I just cite, in the order of arrest that she issued, she said very clearly, after a careful evaluation of the hearing information and all the evidence presented during the preliminary investigation. That's all she considered. Now, this is one of the...
Is that wrong?
That's wrong.
In other words,
that's wrong.
Isn't it allowed for any judge to do that?
Well, here I'm now going to quote a Supreme Court case, Borlongan case, where it says, the judge is never allowed to follow blindly the prosecutor's bare certification as to the existence of probable cause.
I see.
Judges have to go over the report, the affidavits, the transcript of stenographic notes, if any, and other documents supporting the prosecutor's certification. He cannot just rely on the bare certification alone, but must go beyond it.
I see. What year was this? This is good. This serves as a precedent.
Oh yes,
okay,
yes. And there are several. This was promulgated in May of 2010. No?
So in other words, the Supreme Court has already decided in previous cases that just because a complaint was filed before you does not mean you just issue a warrant blindly. That you have to do your own due diligence on the matter and decide, does this person deserve to be issued a warrant?
That's correct. Not only because it's a constitutional right, no, but because the incarceration and liberty of a person is at stake.
Yeah. Because alam mo naman sa Pilipinas, attorney, I'll be honest, ang pananaw ng marami, panahon ng ganito panahon ng ganito mabilis yan makakuha ng warrant. That's how ordinary Filipinos feel.
Correct.
And that's how political harassment happens, political persecution, regardless of who is president.
Well, that's really the unfortunate part of our politics.
Yeah.
No? I think for every change in government, they usually tend to persecute the previous government. That's why, I jokingly said in our press conference, probably in the next government after this one, I'd probably be a lawyer of one of them, of one of these government officials. No? Simply because this has been our attitude towards government, towards officials, bawian, revenge, So is that the way to go? I don't think so. It shouldn't be. We should really go beyond it. We should have institutions solid in our courts, in our law, etc. No? So,
okay. Now, attorney, you have another side to this, wherein hearings were held in the lower house and in the Senate, and you have many Filipinos, it has shown in the survey, who actually believe that Senator Leila de Lima was guilty to some degree of taking advantage of her position. In fact, I think I've seen either an SWS or Pulse Asia survey where I think her trust ratings have dropped. Following these hearings. How would you answer or reply to the ordinary Filipino who believe tumanggap siya
well,
yun ang tanong paano lahat ng nangyari sa Senado at sa bababang kapulungan narinig namin tumanggap siya.
Alam mo, yun nga, that's precisely the point. Lahat ng narinig ng tao o lahat ng ebidensya na lumabas dun sa both houses, no? Ang lahat niyan sinasabi, meron raw pera binigay kay Senator De Lima. Now, of course, we will impugn that, ano? We will,
But for the sake of argument, yung testimony may perang binigay.
Pero ang punto nga doon, that's precisely it. Kung pera lamang ang pinag-uusapan natin na tinanggap ni Senator De Lima when she was Secretary of Justice, etc., the crime should have been bribery or extortion. Dahil ito nga, tumanggap nga ang mataas na opisyal ng ating pamahalaan. Of course, we are not admitting that, ano? Pero kung yun lamang kasi ang pinatunayan, saan ngayon yung illegal drug trade?
Well, okay. What about the testimony of the inmates in the lower house claiming, no, Jonel Sanchez or Ronnie Dayan was the collector of this group, and clearly they were making that money out of the illegal drug trade to give it to her.
Well, sabi, nangolekta, nabigay nga sa mga certain agents, puro pera pa rin ang pinag-uusapan natin. Parang ganito, no? Kung kunyari meron, let's say, smuggler dun sa bilangguan and decides to give money to a high official or a prison official, no? Yan ba magiging guilty ba yung official ng smuggling? Kung kunyari murder naman, ang guilty, kung wala kang katibayan, well, hindi naman pinatunayan kasi na meron illegal drug trade. Do you know, Karen, for example, how it was conducted? How the illegal trade was conducted? We don't, because it was not part of their evidence. Do we know who the traders were? Who the buyers were?
So it should go that far?
Of course. You're talking about illegal drug trading. Ibig sabihin ng illegal drug trading, meron kang nahuling droga, meron kang napapatunayan na ito ay binenta at ito ay trinade, ito ay binili, nagkaroon ka ng buy-bust o kung ano man, ano? Hindi naman pwedeng sabihin lamang na ay kami, involved kami sa illegal drug trading, nagbigay kami pera.
Is there such a thing, I'm not a lawyer, so forgive me for this question, as being an accessory to the illegal drug trade or being a beneficiary to the illegal drug trade?
Pwede rin yan. No? Posible rin yan. Pero remember, ang charge kay Senator De Lima is as a principal in conspiracy. In conspiracy.
Pag principal, parang trafficker ka.
Parang siya mismo ang gumawa ng illegal drug trading. Siya mismo. Eh kung hindi mo naman napatunayan, worse, no? Ang sabi ko nga, worse. Dahil yung mga respondents naman, hindi in-include sa charge. How can you have illegal drug trading kung wala doon yung principal? At ang principal ay itong mga convicts na to. No?
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Again, allegedly. No?
Okay.
So, hindi sila sinama. Kung hindi sila sinama, bakit mo isasama si Senator De Lima? So, talagang miski sa criminal information, malinaw naman nakalagay doon, by reason of her office, tumanggap siya ng pera.
So, that would have been bribery extortion.
Which is bailable and which I think we can confidently answer as well, no? Pagdating sa korte na hindi rin tama yun, no? Hindi rin totoo yun.
But if you are accused of being a beneficiary of the illegal drug trade, is that bailable?
Yes, I would think it. Yes, because you would have been an accessory after the fact. Also, no? So, pero ito nga, ang charge nga nila, they had to charge her with as a principal, and principal, I would mean the principal as direct participation or ano, because nga they wanted non-bailable.
But if you're a principal, it's almost like saying you're a mastermind.
Almost, practically. And yet look at the criminal information. It only talks about her supposed receipt of money. That's it. Yun lang ang pinag-uusapan dito, yung receipt of money. Sabi nga namin, kaya naman rin namin i-disprove yun, no? Besides, wala naman rin sa tingin namin credibility ng kanilang testimony lamang ay convicted.
So I understand what you mean. If the DOJ abused their authority and jurisdiction, what you're saying is the judge did not even serve as an equalizer to the situation.
Yes. Sayang. Because that was her duty. At ang sabi nga ng Supreme Court dito sa mga kaso, talagang the duty is on the judge. Not to trust completely the prosecutor's allegations.
All right. Now, will you file a complaint also with the DOJ? I mean, on the DOJ's actions?
Well, we're actually contemplating many actions. Thinking also on how the Supreme Court acts. Tapos we're also thinking of filing administrative case against the judge herself in this instance. So yan, pinag-uusapan pa namin.
Okay. All right. I know you are also the lawyer, if I may add, of SPO3 Arturo Las Cañas.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, as flag, as pre-legal
Okay.
assistance.
All right.
Yeah.
So it's not as a personal lawyer.
No, not.
Where does he stand today? I mean, here is a guy that lied under oath in 2016 before the Senate,
Yes.
and then claiming there was no DDS, and then now saying a few months after he was almost the right hand of President Duterte then.
You know, ito ginagamit lagi, no? Sinasabi, why would we believe him now?
Yeah.
Now that he changed his story. Well, you should believe him. Dahil ito ibang-iba dun sa mga ibang instances. All I know about retractions, usually ang nangyayari is umaamin ang isang akusado. Ginawa ko to, pinatay ko siya, ginawa, yung ganun ba? Tapos later on, they will retract. Na-torture ako ng police, etc. That has always been the case. Never before has it been a case where someone actually denied it. Actually, he could have just stayed quiet and have a good life, so to speak, no? Pero what he did was, he came up front and said na hindi totoo yung nasabi ko dati, ito na yung katotohanan.
So what's the motive?
So he opened himself.
Why did he suddenly open himself?
Well, he will
Did
be
you
subject
speak to
of
him?
he will be subject of a Senate investigation. Mas maganda talaga manggaling na sa kanya, no?
Okay.
Mismo kung bakit niya maraming kadahilanan yan, iba-iba, patong-patong. Pero ang punto doon is that he actually opened himself not only to perjury, to murder, and so many other cases, no? And yet he's willing. He's willing to answer. He knows it. He's willing to answer all of it. Kaya to us, sabi ko nga, you know, we did not accept this case simply because siya, no? We had to grill him ourselves.
But what is, you know, someone might be asking, what would be the motivation of Flag for taking on this particular man? Can any other murderer just come up to you and say, I want free legal assistance, and you know what, I wasn't, it's not politically involved, pinatay ko lang yung kapitbahay namin.
Well, kasi kung mga ganon...
What is the motivation of Flag for
ang Flag
taking
kasi
this
handles cases na medyo political in nature, na medyo controversial, na not necessarily dapat naman mga for the poor, really, pwede rin naman sa mga hirap.
Okay.
Ano? Pero yun ang motivation ng Flag dito. Wala naman kaming ibang motivation but as lawyers, no? Because we've been asked that as well.
Yeah.
What will happen now? Or do we want to overthrow the government?
Yes, does this mean Flag is anti-President Duterte?
No. If you notice, Karen, we've always been sort of against government since the very beginning. Dahil we always put our resources, our talents, or kung ano man, on the side of the accused who is being charged or persecuted by government. No? Ganun ang aming motivation. So, that's what happened during Marcos' time and in all other governments, no? After that. Kung sa tingin namin, ang isang tao ay persecuted o sobra na ang kanyang pag-o-oppress o kung ano man by ang pamahalaan natin using all its weight, then that's the time that we come in. We try to even it out.
But then this guy is not oppressed. He was a former murderer, as you said.
Yes.
So my question now is, if Flag is taking him, does this mean, I mean, you can't make him a state witness. The DOJ with Secretary Aguirre, that's out of the question.
That's out of the question,
So
of
what
course.
would happen now is they can file a case against him for murder.
That's right.
And will this mean that you'll be lawyering for him?
Yes, that's right. Because
But if he admits to murder, that's reclusion perpetua. That's not debatable under the law.
we know that. He knows that. But ang sabi ni Las Cañas is that he wants to make a public confession, no? He wants to say it up front, no? And he wants to do it really before the Senate or any public forum. So ganon. And if there are cases to be filed later on against him, we will be also counseling for him, no?
So you are not asking for any kind of immunity for him?
No, we're not. No, we're not, no? So, and I think handa naman si SPO3 Las Cañas with whatever consequence, no? That may happen, no? So hopefully it turns out for the best. Pero sabi ko nga, ang Flag is not part of any political group, political party, o kung ano man.
Yeah. And in Senator Leila de Lima's case, it is not flagged.
It is not flagged.
Okay, it is you
It
personally.
just so happened na nagsabay lang, no? I mean,
Oo.
Senator de Lima did not even know anything
Yeah.
about Las Cañas, no?
So, what I wanted to ask you, have you visited Senator Leila de Lima?
I have,
How is she?
I was with her nung Friday when we went to the detention, no? I visited her again yesterday because I talked to her about what we just filed, our press conference, etc. She's in high spirits.
Really?
She's very strong. Yeah, and she feels, well, she's hoping, of course, the best, no? Sana action nga ng Supreme Court. But she's a very strong woman, no?
Yeah.
And she says that she's not giving up the fight, no? So,
Yeah. So what was the, I'm curious, is she near or in the same area as Senator Jinggoy Estrada?
No.
Senator Bong Revilla?
No, they are also detained somewhere there, but the place is such that it is such na hiwa-hiwalay sila.
Oo.
And isolated in that sense, no?
Yeah.
So she has her sort of a small compound on her own. She has her bedroom
Yeah.
with a parang adjoining room, no TV,
No TV.
no aircon,
No Wi-Fi.
no Wi-Fi.
Buti pa yan sa kulungan may Wi-Fi. Sa regular na kulungan.
Ito hindi naman. I think very, very simple. Of course, she
Oo.
gets her food from the outside. She was granted that privilege.
Yeah.
Aside from that, I saw them yesterday painting some of the walls in that
Yeah.
compound. But
Yeah.
that's about it. It's,
Oo. And on a more personal, spiritual note, what does Senator Leila de Lima tell you? Is she, in other words, has she faced the possibility that she might be there for a long period of time?
Well, she's of course hoping, no, that she will get relief.
Yeah.
No? But she also knows, or she also feels that she's being persecuted.
Yeah.
And she also feels na, well, if this could happen to her, of course it could happen to anyone, but she's, I think, prepared to be there. I don't want to say for a long time, no, but she's prepared to be there, no, at
Okay.
this particular time.
All right. Last words, Attorney Alex.
Okay, well, we hope the Supreme Court really acts on our petition. I think this is a case where obviously the illegal drug trading was done merely to have it a non-bailable offense, no. I think she's willing and able to answer any and all allegations, including the receipt of money, etc., but not in this way, no. And I hope our officials will look at it from the point of view that we should be really preserving the law and adhering to it, and not trying to counter just because of being political enemies.
On that note, Attorney Alex
Thank you.
Padilla,
Thank you very
thank you
much.
for coming to the show. We're going to take